All right. What's going on, guys? It's Vince. And today we're going over, I'm a day late, but we're going over the Yama Combat Achievements and more, I guess, from the blog post May 29th, 2025. This week brings some truly fiendish combat achievements, changes to the GE tax, and bug fixes. I think there was also another blog post that came out today, so I'll be doing another video on that if you guys want to check that out. As always, I appreciate the support if you're one of the few people that watch me, as I'm still a very small creator at the moment. But I'm gonna jump right into it. Yama Combat Achievements, pretty exciting. Little splash right at the top. I don't know if that's the right word, but prepare to face the ultimate test of skill and strategy with the newly unveiled Yama Combat Achievements. These tests are designed to push even the most advanced players to their limits. So it looks like they start off in the elite tier, they go up to master, and obviously we finish at grandmaster. A couple different categories. There's kill count, speed, mechanical, restriction, and perfection. So first one, we're gonna start off at the top in the elite category, and we have kill count. So Yama Adept just defeat Yama once. So that does count as the elite tier. I guess it's a hard enough boss where it's put in the elite tier, but yeah, just kill Yama once and you'll get the first combat achievement. Next, we have a speed one, and you have to defeat Yama in an average time of under 3 minutes and 38 seconds over your last 4 kills. So I was actually reading through this a little bit ahead of time just to see what was up, see if I needed to understand anything. And from what I can tell, well, I guess not from what I can tell, but easy enough to understand. It just means on average it has to be 338 over the last 4 kills. It doesn't have to be all the kills are 338 or better. So just get an average time of 3 minutes and 38 seconds over the last 4 kills, and you'll get the next combat achievement here. Next one, we have mechanical. Defeat Yama without attacking the judge with the wrong style and without taking more than 1 instance of damage each time he exiles you from the arena. So this basically just be kind of on top of your gear switches and your offensive prayer switches. That one shouldn't be too bad. You might not get it right away, but it shouldn't be too bad overall. Next, we have another kill count one. Defeat Yama 50 times. This one, if you've already done it, if you're someone that's been doing Yama like myself, you'll already have this. You just have to go get another kill for this one to unlock. Also, this defeat Yama 50 times is the first one of the master tier combat achievements. So now we're in the master tier. Next, we have Yama another speed one. Defeat Yama in an average time of under 3 minutes over your last 4 kills. This one's a little bit harder. You're going to have to be a little bit more consistent, and you're going to have to get an average time of 3 minutes in the last 4 kills. So, still very doable from my experience. I think my best time is like 2 minutes and 37-ish seconds, around there. But yeah, get under 3 minutes for the last 4 kills on average. Next one, this one's fun. It's called No Toppings, No Drinks, Thanks. It's a restriction combat achievement. But defeat Yama without anybody healing using anything other than plain pizza and without anybody drinking any potions. So this one, again, is just kind of fun. You have to go make plain pizza, but you can only use the plain pizza to heal and you can't drink any potions. So again, that one's just kind of fun, but it is a master level combat achievement, so it's pretty tough. Next, we have a mechanical one called Shadow Dancer, and you have to defeat Yama without getting hit by shadows and without ever being more than 1 tile away from the center of his shadow crash attack. So, really have to play mechanically and play intentionally to get this one done, but again, I don't think this one should be crazy. And then next, we have another mechanical one called Firefighter, and it's similar to Shadow Dancer. You have to avoid getting hit by fire and having only killed void players with special attacks. So, if you're going to one-shot it, you have to make sure you use a special, which is going to get, I would imagine, is going to get extremely difficult at the end there, unless you dono fly. So probably going to have to dono fly for that one, or just use mage, I guess. But you can only hit the flares with special attacks. It's going to be what's tough on the firefighter one. Next, we have the Grandmaster tier ones. So first one is similar to some of the other ones. It's going to be a speed one. And this one just takes it up a notch. You have to defeat Yama in an average time of under 2 minutes and 34 seconds over your last 4 kills. So this one, you really have to have endgame gear. You really have to either, no, you have to know someone that also has endgame gear, and you both have to be pretty consistent in getting it under 234 in the last 4 kills. So this one's definitely a step up from the 3 minutes. Excuse me. Next one is Perfection, and this one you basically just have to do Shadow Dancer, Firefighter, and Back So Soon, and then avoid all the other avoidable damage as well. So literally just play perfect and you'll get that one. But obviously with Yama being a harder boss, that one's going to be much, much harder. So that's why it's in the Grandmaster tier. And lastly, it's a kill count, and you have to defeat Yama under the conditions of one of his advanced contracts. Now, my assumption is the advanced contracts are for Oathplate, but I could be wrong. It could just be any contract, but regardless, you're going to have to use one of the contracts. It's going to be much harder, and there's a reason it's in Grandmaster. So go get stuck in. The gauntlet has been thrown. Sharpen your blades, strategize with your comrades, and see if you've got what it takes to be the master and the master of packs. We also have some tweaks and fixes. Excuse me again. This week brings a whole host of Yama or Chasm of Fire related tweaks, and we're hitting you with a big old list. So here's the full list, but essentially they updated the Chasm of Fire overhead icons to match the combat style. The teleport scrolls now teleport you in front of the voice of Yama. The Master Scrollbook now uses the correct icon. Elite clue scrolls are now more common. This is actually really significant. Again, I was reading this in preparation. They increased it from 1 in 66 to 1 in 30. So it's still going to be, a 1 in 30 to get an elite clue scroll, but that's much better from a 1 in 66. In the case that you don't receive a contract upon killing a demon with the eligible style, they give you a second ash drop to let you know that you're killing them correctly. So that's more of them just being courteous and saying, hey, we're going to let you know you're doing it right. Fix a bug with the dragon and burning claws, not guaranteeing their second hit splat from the soul flame horn. The Phoenix necklace proc will no longer remove a soul flame horn buff. The dossier no longer mentions the lockbox when opening it. And the collection log now displays the correct dossier icon. Surge potions, this is pretty cool with PvP, now have a 6-tick delay when used in PvP areas, and the special attack energy will not restore if a player has moved more than 15 tiles away. Additionally, the potion cannot be used if you're already at 100% special attack. So this is pretty cool. They're focusing on PvP a little bit when it comes to the surge potion. Diabolical worms can now be stored in the tackle box, so that's nice. Crushing the Infernal Shale now guarantees fair returns. They fixed a bug where players could use the wet cloth to bypass the mining requirement of Infernal Shale. The Infernal Pickaxe no longer processes Infernal Shale. That one's pretty funny. But now you don't have to worry about that if you use an Infernal Pick. Increase the buy limit of Yama contracts in the Grand Exchange from 5 all the way up to 50 now, which is really nice considering how many you have to go through if you're main. The Purging Staff special attack now counts towards contract of Glyphic Attenuation. So if you're trying to do that contract, you can now use a special attack, which is nice. Scarred extracts now work as expected with Aether runes when using Dale Essence. Added an empty option to the barrel of Demonic Tellus, so it can be emptied from the inventory with the bank interface open. This one I really, really like. I've emptied quite a bit of these in the inventory, and they really don't take that long, but being able to just right click empty in the bank is really, really nice nonetheless. So you can no longer use an inbox on Jim to smuggle the rag out. This is really funny to me that people found a way to smuggle the rag out of that area. Fixed a bug where the screen fading to black had a permanent duration if you entered as your friend left. That's also really funny. You just kind of got permanently blind and had the screen stay black. The Oathplate armor set now has the correct icon in the Grand Exchange. Oathplate shards now appear in the Yama collection log entry. Remove the dragon chain body from the Yama collection log entry. And the player cost of worm, catalyst, and shards now better reflects the value of their rewards. So that's pretty cool as well. And they removed the agility shortcut icons from the bottom floor of the Chasm of Fire, considering you can't use them to go back up. They also have some hot fixes. They rebalanced the dossier rewards, where the teleport scrolls now appear less frequently, but in higher quantities. So you're still probably going to get roughly the same amount, but they just appear less. So they also increased the drop rate of Radiant contracts and reduced the rate of Horn and Oathplate contracts. I was reading that these were apparently already super rare, so now they're just even more rare, which I guess is fine. But yeah, the main thing is going to be increasing the drop rate of the Radiant contracts now. Void Flares now apply special on-hit effects correctly. That's good, I guess, working as intended sort of thing. And they fixed an issue where the staff special attacks would consume special attack energy, even if you're out of range due to range reduction effects like myopia or sensory clouding. So just a little bit more polishing, a little bit more touching up the game to work completely as they intend, which is always nice. In addition to these tweaks, we know you're curious about the Yama drop rates. In case you haven't seen it yet, we've provided the wiki with detailed drop rates a while ago, which you can see here. I'm going to go to that just real quick and put those on the screen. As you can see on the left here, I am zoomed in a little bit, but it's all there. So it's the current price as well, and then looks like the pet is a 1 in 2,500. So anyway, back to the blog post. Contract related tweaks. Since last Friday's hotfix adventure, we've made some significant changes to contracts based on your feedback. First up, Yama will no longer have increased HP on any contract except for the contract of Bloodied Blows and contract of Glyphic Attenuation. Yama's HP is slightly reduced on both of the aforementioned contracts too. So this is pretty nice. I think everyone thought the HP increase was pretty high on these, so it's nice to see that they downsized on that. On the topic of contract of Bloodied Blows, we've lowered Yama's prayer penetration on magic and range attack from 10% to 5%, so it's also going to be a little easier on the prayer penetration as well. And on top of these adjustments, a good chunk of feedback made clear that Phase 3 for a lot of these fights was pretty enjoyable, while Phases 1 and 2 felt like a bit of a slog. Particularly frustrating when a small mistake can kill you. With that in mind, all of Yama's contracts will trigger phase transitions at 75% and 50% health, rather than 66 and 33. This means you'll spend more time taking on the toughest part of the fight, but the HP reduction should mean that kills are a bit snappier. So yeah, this is basically just going to make it so that phase 1 and 2 just go quicker, even though you're going to have to kill phase 3 for longer. Here's a few smaller changes we're making for the contract of Glyphic Attenuation. Players with high prayer bonus gain a damage increase. We've made this damage bonus larger at the higher thresholds. So that one's pretty cool. Void Flares in duo contracts no longer always spawn with 140 HP, making them easier to solo and occasionally more manageable in a duo. It's no longer possible to splash on Void Flares during the contract of Bloodied Blows. Wow, so they fully just made that so much easier. I know so many people were frustrated on the splashing part, so that not being a requirement anymore is insane. That's big for a lot of players now. Remove the tile ragging mechanic from the contracts of Catalyst, Worm, and Shard acquisition. This is still present on the contracts of Harmony and Oathplate acquisition. So no more tile ragging on the Catalyst, Worm, and Shard acquisition contracts. Pretty nice. So hopefully if those get a little easier, maybe you can actually do them and they're kind of worthwhile, especially on an iron. I know a lot of people are like, the contracts are just going to be like priced higher than the reward itself, even though you're mainly using them to practice the boss fight for the Radiant. But hopefully they're actually like worth going for. And remove the Demon Bane restriction from all contracts. So that's really interesting. They had a Demon Bane restriction, so your DPS is just going to increase significantly when doing these contracts. Additionally, you can now bring Yama 100 noted pineapple pizzas, which is his favorite, to persuade him to let you fight him in his empowered form. This fight is intended to give you much needed practice for the toughest contracts of Worm, Catalyst, and Shard acquisition, but you'll receive regular loot. So that's pretty cool as well. It'll let you practice a little bit the harder versions of the fight in prep for the Radiant contracts. Naturally, these changes do make these contracts easier than before. We've compiled a list of the first among you to complete the Purifying Sigil to make sure that players who've stepped up to the challenge, even when it seemed insurmountable, are remembered by the history books. And let's take a look. So here is the top 10 in terms of the first people to complete the Radiant Oathplate. So notable names, at least from what I see, is No Monkey at number 6 and Noob Type at number 10. So congrats to those guys, and congrats to everybody on the list for completing Radiant Oathplate in the first top 10. We'd like to say a huge congratulations to everybody out there who's completed any contracts so far. We hope to see some of you tackling these adjusted contracts and sharing your thoughts with us. So overall, really cool changes to the contracts. It seems like it's pretty good quality of life. They saw what was just extremely hard and they kind of toned it down a little bit, so it's a little bit more manageable. So still extremely hard, still a huge challenge, but it's at least a little bit more doable than before. Next, we have the Grand Exchange tax. So as part of our ongoing commitment to maintaining a healthy in-game economy, we're making a change to the Grand Exchange tax rate. We understand that any update involving your hard-earned gold can be sensitive. I'm an Iron Man, so it doesn't affect me, but continue. So we want to be fully transparent about the reasons behind this change and how it will affect your gameplay. Why change the GE tax rate? The amount of GP entering the game has steadily increased over the years, but our systems for removing that GP, known as money sinks, haven't kept pace. Change like increasing the GE tax is a meaningful step towards restoring economic balance, helping to curb inflation and preserve the value of your wealth. Yeah, I mean, essentially, this basically prevents you from being able to buy something like an Abyssal Whip for like 100k. So I like the fact that this exists in the game. It adds to that progression for main accounts, and like Iron Man already has that level of progression, especially with like Slayer levels and like other milestones in regards to combat. But it's a little bit blurred more when it comes to main accounts. So using the GE tax to keep certain items not just super low price and ruining the progression of the game is really, really good. So I like this. I think it helps with the economic, like they said, like the economic balance of the game and the integrity of like progression when it comes to main accounts. The goal here isn't to punish trade, but to ensure that Old School continues to have a vibrant and sustainable economy for years to come. Increasing the GE tax is one of the most effective ways that we can do that. So what is changing? The tax rate will rise from 1% to 2%. So that's pretty cool. I know that's already helping a lot, so it's really going to help now. And items under 50 GP will still not be taxed, since 2% of those values rounded down to less than 1 coin. A tax cap of 5 million coins remains in place for high value trades as it did before. Existing offers at the time of the update will remain taxed at 1% or not taxed at all, ensuring fairness for trades made under the old rules. Only newly created offers after the update goes live will see the new 2% rate. So just right off the rip, doing a 1% to 2% rate. It's the GE tax is now 2%, so it's really gonna cut back on some of that gold and sink some of that gold out of the game. They also have improvement to item sinks alongside the tax rate change. We've also taken the chance to give the item sync system a bit of a cleanup. In case you're not familiar, when you buy or sell items on the Grand Exchange, most of the tax you pay gets deleted straight out of the game, helping remove GP from circulation. However, a small slice of that tax pie is also used by the game to buy certain items from players and sink them into the void, permanently deleting them from the economy. This keeps high supply items from getting too out of hand and helps prices stay balanced over time. In this update, we're refining this item sync further, and they're adding burning claws to the sync list and increased sync rates for several high impact items, including the Fang, Lightbearer, Arcane Prayer Scroll, Dexterous Prayer Scroll, Dragon Hunter Lance, and Dragon Pickaxe. So yeah, that's definitely an improvement on a lot of these items. I know, especially like the Fang and the Light Bearer, just get um, so many items brought in the game, and they definitely need to be deleted a little bit more because those items are so cheap for what they actually give you. Meanwhile, these items are now a little less likely to be sunk. You have the Spectral and Arcane Spirit Shield and the Kodai Wand, which makes sense because they're a lot more rare than the items mentioned here. Finally, after reviewing item performance and value over time, we've removed the following items from the sync list entirely. The Saradomin Swords, the Warrior and Seer's Ring, Bandos Boots, the Sarachnis Cudgel, Hydra Claw, Kraken Tentacle, Trident of the Seas, Occult Necklace, Preserve Prayer Skull, and Kodai Insignia. So those will not be getting sunk anymore. Some items on this list might seem too low price to be worth sinking. In most cases, the real issue is the sheer volume of these items entering the game. We think the GP is better directed toward other, more effective sinks. You'll still pay the tax when trading these items, but the game won't be scooping them up and deleting them anymore. We hope these changes will let us focus your taxes on the items that are more heavily in need of an item sink, while still removing plenty of gold from the game overall. We've also made some low value and early game utility items fully exempt from GE tax. This includes things like low tier food, energy potions, teleport tablets, early game ammo, and mind runes. These items are useful for newer and lower level players, and taxing them didn't really sink much gold, but it did make the early game just a little less friendly, so we've cleaned that up. Yeah, again, great additions to this, and well thought out reasons behind the decisions they're making when it comes to the item sync list and some of the stuff surrounding the GE tax. At the end of the day, this isn't just about numbers, it's about keeping the old school economy healthy, so your GP stays valuable and prices stay fair. We'll be monitoring these changes closely, and as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be like a case-by-case basis. You kind of continue this conversation as we go, as they make changes and kind of assess where the economy is as these changes get implemented. But overall, it seems pretty intentional, especially when it comes to like the early game utility items and the items that they're increasing the sync rates for and decreasing the sync rates for. So that's the GE tax. Seems pretty cool. Doesn't affect me because I'm an Iron Man, but it's there for the mains, for all the mains in the game. And then I think lastly, we're finishing up here. Little update to player support. So we're checking in, and we'd love your input. At the end of last year, we asked for your thoughts on Jagex player support, what was working, what wasn't, and where you wanted to see improvements. Your feedback in the December 2024 survey was incredibly valuable and directly shaped the player support roadmap we shared in April for both RuneScape and Old School. Now we're back with a follow-up survey to see how we're doing. What are your thoughts on the roadmap? Have the changes we've made improved your experience? Are there still areas we need to focus on? Whether you've recently interacted with player support or simply have suggestions, we want to hear from you. The survey will be live from May 29th to June 5th, and you can complete it here. This is the first in a series of regular check-ins. It only takes a few minutes to complete. Every response helps us make player support better for everyone, so thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts. So if you want to help shape the future of player support, they have a survey. It's going to go till June 5th. And that's mostly it. We have a couple other things, a couple new Tombs of a Mascot pins and keyrings, so those are all pretty cool. Angel's Escapes always knocks these out, so I really like this one here, the Elidinous Ward. I mean, that one's pretty nice too. Both of the Elidinous Ward ones I really like. The soundtrack is out now, so a little bit of art to go with it. A new Shadows of a Mascot novel, so that's pretty cool if you guys are into collecting books or reading. They have a novel as well. Some plushies, if you're into those. Some mini plushies, it looks like, on keyrings for the Gnome Child and Wise Old Man. And a couple other changes. This is actually cool as well. Burning logs at a bonfire now offers the same XP as traditional fire making, though they'll still be used at a slower rate than lighting them manually. So that's pretty cool if you're up doing redwoods. And instead of cutting them into 10 million arrow shafts, you can now burn them instead, and they'll actually give you the same amount of XP as the regular fire making. Players entering through the Guthix portal at Castle Wars will now be randomly assigned to a team at the start of the game. Leaving and rejoining the waiting room won't change your team. Your assignment will only reset when a new game begins. Dragon Claws have regained their second hit passing logic. Players can no longer smuggle non-combat items into Soul Wars. The Master Scrollbook now uses the correct icon for the Colossal Worm teleport. And lastly, we've identified pure counts whose defense level was erroneously bumped from level 1 to 2 due to last week's bug that caused ranged weapons to grant incorrect type of combat XP. Their defense has now been restored to level 1. Wow, so that's pretty cool. They took the time to go in and fix the accounts who got defense XP for pures during the bug last week that caused ranged weapons to grant defense XP. So that's pretty cool. And again, like, it's stuff like this that, like, I see so many game companies just not giving a shit about, being like, well, there was a bug, sorry, not sorry, but deal with it. So shout out to them for taking the time to go fix that. The I wanted to touch back on the burning logs too. I really like this change. It's nice because it's still slower than lighting them manually, but if you're like at a tree and you don't want to bank, just bring a tinderbox and offer them on a bonfire. Got a couple PvP world rotations, and that's gonna be about it. So as always, you can discuss on the subreddits, Steam forums, Discord, and game update channel, or check out the wiki for more. And like usual, signed the mods. So that's gonna be it for the update today. Yesterday actually. Main two things being the Grand Exchange tax and of course the Yama Combat Achievements, especially for contracts as well, contract tweaks. So if you guys have made it this far, I appreciate you watching. Again, I'm gonna do another video on another blog post that came out today, which the link will be in the description. So thank you for watching, and bye.